Welcome back to TBRD. This week on the vlog, I'm going to be talking ABS, what it is and how it works, and I'm going to be taking a close look at the braking system on this 2020 BMW S1000XR, including the ABS Pro option, as well as how to program the amount of ABS to your liking and riding needs on your BMW if it's equipped with the dynamic Pro riding option like my bike is. If you're new to the channel, welcome. If you are a returning customer, thank you for coming back. I appreciate all of your support. I'd ask that you consider clicking on the notification and subscribe buttons. It would be greatly appreciated. And as you watch this video, if you like what I'm doing, go ahead and hit that like button, leave me a comment. I'll be sure to get back to you. Getting back to ABS, which in my opinion is really truly one of the most significant technologies adapted to motorcycles that has a direct impact on reducing the likelihood of an accident. Put simply, if you are riding equally spec'd bikes, with the exception of one option, and that option being ABS, if you are riding two equally spec'd bikes, but you're on the ABS option, your braking distances and your braking stability are going to be better with that ABS option. So what is ABS and how does it work? Well, when we say ABS, we're talking about anti-lock braking systems. And to better understand how they work, we've got to picture how much braking force is being applied to the road at any given point in time. And so for the purposes of this vlog, I'm going to refer to that as the maximum braking force. Now, maximum braking force is partially dependent on the coefficient of friction of the road surface. So if you have gravel, snow, ice, or even moisture or water on the road surface, that road surface is going to have a reduced coefficient of friction. So when you are riding on a road surface like that, it's going to have less friction than a clean and clear road. When you ride on a road with reduced coefficients of friction, you're going to have a longer stopping distance. So your stopping distance is going to be longer, meaning it's going to take you a longer time to stop. Now, as we ride, if we brake, and we brake really excessively hard as we squeeze these levers like that, if we squeeze them and apply too much pressure, so if we exceed the maximum amount of braking force, what's going to happen is your wheels are going to lock up. And when they lock up, you're going to lose stability. Now, on the back wheel, that's not so much of an issue. Even your novice riders are going to understand you can lock that back wheel up, and as long as you keep your handlebars straight, your back end can fishtail and slide out, and it's not going to cause that much of an issue. On the front end, however, I don't know anybody who wants their front end to lock up. Some riders will opt to, if they have ABS and they have the components on their bike to turn it off, they will opt to turn off the ABS on their back wheel so that they can slide it when they're out hooning around, maybe so that they can back it into turns if that is something they are interested in doing. But as I said, I don't know anybody who wants to lock up their front wheel. When you lock up your front wheel, your bike's going to fold and you're going to go down. So what ABS does is it is going to regulate the amount of braking pressure so that if you are exceeding the maximum, it's going to regulate it or modulate it for you and make sure that the braking threshold is not exceeded. And in doing so, it's going to keep those wheels spinning and provide more stability, and in turn your stopping distance is going to be shorter when you are riding on those roads, as I mentioned, that have a lower coefficient of friction. So what does all this feel like to the rider? Well, if you apply the brakes in the situation that I just described and the ABS kicks in, you're going to feel feedback in your brake lever, whether that's your front handle brake lever or your rear brake foot lever. You're going to feel that feedback. If you've never felt that before, and you don't own a motorcycle, or you're not comfortable doing it on your motorcycle, get into your car, as pretty much most cars come equipped with ABS brakes these days. And if you're on a or if you're on a surface that is wet, I grew up in the Great Lakes area, so there was always snow around. But anyways, if you're on gravel, somewhere that is damp, just really get on your brakes hard, and you're going to feel that feedback in the brake pedal. And it's the same thing on your motorcycle. You're going to feel that in your brake levers. Alright, so what we're going to do now is I'm going to send it back to the garage so I can really get into the specifics of the braking system on this BMW, talk a little bit more in depth about ABS, and do it in a safe, controlled environment, and then we will send it back out to the road. Alright, we are back in the garage, and we're going to take a closer look at the braking system on this BMW S1000XR. If you're driving a newer model motorcycle like this BMW, it's important to understand if you have integrated brakes. So this bike is equipped with integrated brakes, meaning that both the front and the rear wheel brakes are going to be applied simultaneously when you pull the handbrake lever. The foot brake lever is going to act only on the rear wheel brake. So the BMW Motorrad ABS is going to adapt the braking force distribution between the front and the rear wheel brakes during braking by means of the ABS control, essentially to suit the load carried by the motorcycle, and in doing so, achieve the shortest possible braking distance. All right, we're going to come over here and take a closer look at the systems on this BMW. Particularly, I want to talk a little bit about the ABS Pro riding mode at this point in time, and then I'm going to go through and show you how you can program the amount of ABS to your liking. So ABS Pro, what is the ABS Pro option and what does it entail? Well, ABS Pro essentially is going to increase safety, especially when you're braking in corners. ABS Pro stops the wheels from locking up even if the brakes are actuated quickly, so think panic braking. What it's doing is the ABS Pro system is going to reduce really abrupt changes in steering forces, especially during that shock or emergency panic braking, and decrease the risk of an undesirable outcome, if you will, right? So from a technical standpoint, the ABS Pro is adjusting the ABS control to the angle of the inclination of the motorcycle, really respective to the riding situation. I talked about this previously when I did a video on ESA, which I will link here. And so what it's doing is it's getting signals for the roll and the yaw rate and the lateral acceleration to determine the inclination of the motorcycle. And these signals are coming from the angular rate sensor, as I talked about in the dynamic ESA video. So with an increasing angle, the brake pressure gradient is increasingly limited at the start of braking. And so that means it's going to result in a slower pressure buildup. And the pressure modulation in the range of the ABS control is going to be more uniform. So what does this do? Well, essentially it's going to provide the rider with a more sensitive response and higher braking and riding stability, with the best possible outcome of deceleration, even if you are in the curves. So that ABS Pro option is pretty significant. Now let's go ahead and take a look at how we can program the ABS on this bike. So we're going to come over here, we're going to hit the menu button. When you hit the menu button, it's going to take you into this screen. We're going to toggle to the right. We can get to settings. And then we're going to scroll down with our wheel. Whoops, my bad. We're going to go over to vehicle settings. Then we're going to scroll down with the wheel. Go into Dynamic Pro Riding mode. You're going to see ABS on the left. You can get into ABS. All right, so what you'll see there is you have front, rear, distribution to the rear, anti-rear lift, ABS Pro. So your anti-rear lift is off, ABS Pro is off. Currently how this is set up. So we can get in and we can make some changes to this. So if you set it all the way, which essentially is the default for the rain riding mode, you're going to have full max settings all the way around. On road use, you're going to see that your ABS Pro is set to medium, your anti-rear lift is set to medium, and you can see distribution to the rear is max,
rear is max, front is max. On the dynamic mode, you'll see where all the settings lie. All right, in Dynamic Pro, this is where you've got a couple of options where you can keep a minimum amount of ABS on for the front and the rear, and it'll turn off the anti-lift in the ABS Pro. And then you can set it so that you have the rear entirely off. So if you're interested in sliding that rear around, you can go ahead and have it set that way as well. So those are your basic settings and how to set your ABS within the Dynamic Pro riding mode. If you have any questions about that, make sure to leave them in the comments. We are going to head back out to the road at this point in time.
All right, back out here on the road. So as you can see, there is a real high level of programmability when it comes to this BMW S1000XR and other BMWs that come with the Dynamic Pro riding mode. There are many other bikes that will also offer you the ability to kind of dial in your ABS to your liking, and it's a fantastic feature to have. All right, that's gonna about do it for today's vlog. As always, I'd ask that you consider liking, subscribing, and hitting that notification button. Your support is greatly appreciated. I hope to hear from you in the comments, and until next time, as I like to say, keep the throttle back